Hello everyone, welcome back to more of King's Quest 2. So we are here where we left off, just after I saved the game, and it's a good thing I did. So let's take a look at this cave. This is of course the cave where Hagatha the witch lives. She is the woman whom we saw looking into the crystal ball in the introduction video to this game.
Unless you are mistaken, the symbol above the cave entrance bears a striking similarity to a bat. A shiver runs down your spine as you look at it. It's almost as if some dark force were radiating from it.
And you may remember in the original King's Quest II, the Batmobile occasionally does appear here. I don't know if they did that for this remake, but there's something like a 1 in, I don't know, 1 in 50 chance or something like that that the Batmobile will show up as you enter the screen. And I guess that's why they put that there, to kind of further the reference to a bat.
You wouldn't want to touch the bat symbol, even if you could reach it, which you can't. Besides, you feel unsettled enough just looking at it.
All right.
You spend a few minutes talking to the bat symbol. After a while, you decide the conversation has become a little one-sided, and you politely excuse yourself.
Is that a special message just for trying to talk to the bat, or is that just the generic?
There's no reason to use.
Hold on, let's see.
It is a human skull with a radiant blue stone wedged into its eye socket.
Okay, was not expecting a close-up of that. That freaked me out a little bit.
As you have no desire to risk certain death by venturing into the cave, you have no reason to manipulate anything in or around it. He's way past talking these days.
I just want to see if that was a generic message or...
The arch is a natural formation which, amazingly, mirrors the shape of the cave entrance. Through it, you can see the rocky shoreline which meets the sea.
Maybe that's not so amazing. Maybe they were once part of the same rock and time just split them.
You try to move in a second what nature has spent thousands of years sculpting. Don't feel bad. At least you were willing to give it a shot. Your voice is lost as it travels out towards the sea.
Yeah, I'm still not sure if that thing with...
You spend a few minutes talking.
Is that actually like a special message they made just for talking to the bat? I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. I don't think there's much we can do here right now. And yeah, as I was saying in the previous video, I'm just going to wander around for a while. The layout of this game is similar to the original King's Quest II, but I think it's not exactly the same. And so I'll just kind of walk around. I don't have a map or anything in front of me, so I'm just going to explore. I remember... in the hint book for the, I remember we actually had the hint book for the original King's Quest 1, and I think the hint book told you, imagine that you're Lewis and Clark, you know, the American explorers who I think were leaders of the first expedition to explore the American West. Imagine you're Lewis and Clark and you're in a foreign land, you know, where you're in a strange country, and you have to kind of get your bearings, you have to explore around and make a map. I used to love making maps, actually. When I was a kid, I actually really enjoyed making maps of adventure games. Some people don't like making maps of these games, but I actually, when I was a kid, I quite enjoyed it. I guess partly because, you know, when you're a kid, you have more time. Now, as an adult, when I come home from work...
You have run into an evil enchanter. Get out of here fast before he turns you into something.
Okay, I'm curious. What does he turn us into? Okay, I guess that...
What an enchanting encounter. Enjoy the rest of your life as his pet.
Well, I don't swing that way, but otherwise, I guess... Okay, anyway, yeah, I was just saying, when I get home from work, I don't really feel like making a map of a game like this, but you know, when you're a kid and you have a little more time, I actually quite liked mapping out these places, drawing maps of adventure games, even text adventures and things like that. It was quite nice. Anyway.
A tree, now not much more than a stump, has presumably been reduced to its present size by a woodcutter. A log lies on the ground, apparently forgotten by whoever cut it from the nearby stump. You look under the log, but find nothing. It was a good idea, though. As it is heavier, denser, and larger than yourself, trying to move it would not be such a clever thing to do. A smattering of rocks lies at the rear of the cave. You are past picking up rocks. Besides, there is no treasure-hoarding giant in these parts.
Ah, reference to the first game.
These are the rocks that the cave rejects to make this cave still a cave.
Alright, doesn't seem like we can do much here right now, so look, can I go up this way? Oh, is this way actually blocked? I guess, okay. Oh yeah, because we went down and then right and then back up, so this is the northern edge of the game area and the game doesn't wrap, so we can't go further that way. Oh, this is nice. I like this. This is another example of really nice pixel art, even though I guess it's actually... This is pretty much from King's Quest IV, isn't it? I think they actually took the pixel art of the swan swimming in... isn't it Genesta's palace in King's Quest IV? Still, it's quite nice.
The small pond is a beautiful feature in this part of the forest. You imagine a variety of bird life would find this a very suitable place to travel for the breeding season.
Wow, Graham is really obsessed with that particular biological function. He even starts thinking of breeding when he sees birds.
A beautiful, majestic white swan gracefully glides across the lake. You don't want your hand pecked, do you? Mother swans are known to be very protective of their young. Any wisdom that this swan has learnt will sadly never be shared with you.
Oh, we have the net. Can we catch the swan?
You have no reason to capture the mother swan.
Oh, no reason to capture the mother swan, but what about one of the babies?
The mother swan would not like you interfering with her young.
Since when has that ever stopped an adventure game character?
These plants have long branches with very fine leaves. You like the plants just where they are.
It's actually a very nice looking fern. I quite like the rendering job that they did on the leaves of that fern. So I'm liking the attention to detail. They definitely, you can see they definitely upped the verbosity, let's say, of the messages. There's a little more description going on, a little more dwelling on the surroundings and trying to describe them. The original King's Quest games were a little more Spartan on text, which I can understand because, of course, computer storage back in the day couldn't store that much text, so you had to be a little bit sparing in what you presented to the audience because, you know, a floppy disk could only hold so much data. But now you can definitely... Oh, what's this? Okay, now this is definitely something new. This was not in the original King's Quest II. This is something new.
This pumpkin is somewhat larger than the others in the patch.
Yeah, I noticed that, but I was kind of hoping for you to tell me something that I couldn't already see.
A patch of orange, healthy-looking pumpkins is growing in this secluded little area of the forest. The patch can't communicate with you. You look for a nice, large pumpkin to take from the patch.
Hey, watch it!
Oh, sorry. I was not aware you could talk.
Likewise. Anyway, be careful where you're treading. You're spoiling the good soil by standing so close. And I got 8 kids to feed.
You glance at the smaller pumpkins. These must be her children.
I only count 7.
Yeah, well, I had 8. Then some strange man who spoke even stranger came by. He claimed to be a hortico. Claimed to know a bit about plants. I let him take a look at my little darlings. Anyway, before I knew it, he'd gone and pinched one of my babies. Took off towards the town, he did. Of all the naive. Just because we're plants doesn't mean we don't deserve any respect.
I am sure that is true.
I like Graham's reaction there at the end. I am sure that is true.
Pardon me for asking, but how did you come by the ability to talk?
With a question like that, I might ask you the same.
I was only...
I don't take it personal. That old witch Agatha cast a spell on me so I could guard her precious possessions.
Hagatha?
Yeah, she's the old bag who lives in that cave to the west. You know her type. Green warts, pointed ears, cannibalistic, doesn't put her trash out. Just your stereotypical evil old crown.
She sounds pleasant. You mentioned something about guarding Hagatha's precious possessions.
At least, what she considers precious. I reckon they're anything but. Mind you, I have my doubts about Hagatha's legitimate ownership of this stuff. if you know what I mean.
What sorts of items does Hagatha wish you to guard?
The usual vanities. All useless in my opinion. But what would I know?
I don't know, I'm suddenly reminded of, because this jack-o'-lantern also has quite crunk teeth. I'm reminded of that scene in Total Recall where that taxi driver keeps saying, "Man, I got 5 kids to feed." And Arnie replies, "Yeah, take them to the dentist."
The mother pumpkin looks distressed. You decide not to interrupt her at the moment.
All right, fair enough. Well, can we steal a pumpkin for ourselves?
You're quite sure that the mother pumpkin wouldn't appreciate that.
Again, when has that ever stopped an adventure game character? Can I take the mother pumpkin with me?
You don't think the mother pumpkin would allow you to simply remove her from her babies.
Well, what's she going to do about it? She doesn't really seem to have any arms or legs or any other means to defend herself, except for those teeth. But I don't think a jack-o'-lantern has very sharp teeth, or pumpkin. I guess she's a pumpkin, not a jack-o'-lantern. But okay, well, I guess this probably means we have to find the missing 8th baby pumpkin. All right, pumpkin with a New England accent. That's something new. Oh, and here's also something new: a town.
The sign reads town.
Well, this isn't the town. This is obviously a sign that says town, but I'm going to assume that, assuming the sign is not lying to us, there should be a town up there.
There's no need to realign the sign. It's fine.
Oh, that's what you think. It's sublime. Yeah, okay. That was lame.
It can tell you where the town is, but that's the extent of its ability to convey information.
All right, let's go and check out the town. I mean, seems like an obvious thing to do at this point. So it's sort of a reference to King's Quest V, the way it takes the time to slowly animate the tiny Graham walking into the path in the distance. There we go. Colima. Oh, wow, so there's an actual city called Colima. In the original King's Quest II, Colima was just, it was the land, it was like the country, but here apparently it's also a city, Colima City.
It is likely that this haystack was piled here by farmers from the town. A faded blue sheet has been tightly stretched across it to prevent the straw from blowing away in the wind.
Okay, seems reasonable.
Hey!
What? Who said that?
I did.
Huh?
I'm down here, in the hay.
Oh. Well, who are you?
My name is,
Yes?
I can't seem to remember.
Well then, what are you?
Oh, I'm
Yes?
Can't seem to remember that either.
I'm a forgetful character.
What are you doing in this haystack?
That's easy. I was looking for...
I forgot that too.
Oh.
You can't remember.
No. Sorry.
How long have you been in there?
Let's see.
Yeah, I can't
It couldn't
remember.
be longer than...
Yes?
3, maybe 4 weeks?
Weeks?
Yep.
Pardon me for saying, but you sound as if you have a bit of a cold.
Yes. It's all this hay. It's giving me hay fever.
Well, okay. Do we want to take this character out of the...
Maybe you should do something to help the occupant first. After all, you don't want to get sneezed on while searching the haystack.
Okay, so we need a sneeze remedy now? Really? Okay.
The sickly line of trees to the west form the edge of the swamp. Those trees do not look too healthy, and you don't really want to touch them. The sign reads, Colima.
Oh, Colima. For some reason I always said Colima in my mind. Finnish pronunciation, always emphasizing the first syllable.
This stylized symbol, positioned above the entrance, represents the township of Colima.
So, what's the difference between a town and a township? I think, as I seem to recall, isn't a town A town is like the city itself, or the the built-up area with buildings clustered together, and then I think the township is sort of the province, like the municipality that the town is the center of. But I seem to recall it works something like that. But
You see a man bending over the fountain. He appears to be trying to retrieve something from it.
well, this is a pleasant little town.
Aha! Got him.
What did you get?
A tall statue of a man stands prominently at the entrance of town. It looks to have been placed here quite a number of years ago. The statue bears a plaque which reads, Count Kaldor, ruler and protector of Kolyma. The statue is unmovable. Besides, the townsfolk will be none too pleased if you damage or disrespect it. Crystal clear water sparkles in the fountain. A few valueless pennies lie at the bottom that the merchant didn't bother taking. As refreshing as this fountain looks, you really don't want to drink water that the merchant has been fishing around in with his bare hands.
Oh, come on. Are his hands really that dirty? And also, I don't think back then pennies were valueless. I think in these times, those of you who have seen Conquest of the Longbow know that a penny is actually fairly valuable in medieval English times. Anyway.
There is a small assemblage of farmers having a discussion nearby. Poking strangers in the street is usually considered bad form and may put you in a bad way. The farmers are deep in conversation. You think it best not to interrupt them with idle chit-chat.
Let's slow down the game just a bit because I want to try talking to some of these random...
A tall statue
No,
of
not that.
a tall
No.
a townsperson wanders the street.
Can I talk to these?
Repressing the urge to burst into song, you choose instead to quietly admire the area.
Okay, let's talk to this guy.
Repressing the
No.
The people of Kolyma lead busy lives. They have no time for idle chit-chat.
Alright, well, let's talk... Oh, hey! I was just going to say let's talk to this guy, but look what he has down here. That looks like it might be a pumpkin with eyes.
The merchant has a distinct out-of-town appearance and a get-out-of-town aroma.
Oh, maybe that's why Graham didn't want to reach into the fountain that the guide had his hands in. Still, do you really think he polluted that whole fountain so much that you can't put your hand in there?
Greetings, merchant.
Ah, to you, good day. Shh. A visitor arrived new, no? A sense I possess for these things. Need you have for my wares of great specialty?
Perhaps. But first, I'm curious. Where did you come by such a pumpkin?
Eyes quite keen, nephew. Indeed, a specimen unique it is.
Be quiet.
The gift of speech among plants so rare, yes?
Quite so. Are you planning to sell it?
Sell? Never would I sell such a thing as this.
It'll make me incredibly rich.
I mean, entrusted it was to my care. Watch over it, I must.
Forget it. I'm not taking you back to that patch. So pipe down.
Pardon?
Ah, of importance I speak not. Trouble to your ears I meant none.
I was gonna say, it seems maybe just a bit racist to have this man with the Indian accent who is kind of a bad guy who is trying to swindle people for money and who stole the... But he's apparently not actually a guy with an Indian accent. Apparently he's some guy with some kind of Cockney accent who stole the pumpkin. Let's see, can I talk to this? Graham's kind of standing in the way now. Let's walk over here and try to talk to him again.
You do not feel like doing business with the merchant at the moment, and you do not have anything else to say. Yet.
Okay, I'm gonna very strongly guess that he won't let me just pick up that pumpkin.
A small pumpkin sits in a bowl nearby.
No. Sorry.
You can't just pick it up while the merchant is watching.
Sure I can. I'm a king. I mean, I'm not the king of this land, but I can still pick it up and say, I'll have you beheaded for kidnapping or pumpkin napping or whatever. Well, anyway. Anyway, I guess this has been a another video of King's Quest II. I really like the architecture on these houses. I'm just trying to think, this architecture, is this more... I'm not good with medieval architecture. Is this more English, or it reminds me kind of old-fashioned German buildings, like, you know, that you see in, like, that you still sometimes see in some German towns, but I don't know if this is more Old English or Old German style, or I guess it's a bit of both. I mean, I guess there is significant overlap between the two styles. Those of you who know something about medieval architecture, let me know. Does this look more like an Old English town or an Old German town to you? Because to me it looks German, but what do I know? I probably know a bit more about Germany than the UK, so, or England or whatever. So, but I really like the looks of this town. I really very much like the looks of this this little place, and I like the music and just the general ambience here. It's very nice, very pleasing to me. And those of you who have seen my travel videos know I always love places with books, so I am very pleased that there is a library here. This pleases me greatly. I am very satisfied. Very proper library in Colima. So that woman has a very red dress. I like her red dress as well. I just like this scene. This whole scene is very nice. I'm very happy about this scene. I'm very happy to be here. This is the kind of place that or one of the kinds of places that I like to visit in computer games. So I'm happy that I'm here, and we'll continue exploring the town of Colima more next time in the next video. Until then, thank you for watching, everyone, and cheers to everyone. Hope that everyone has a good week, and I will talk to you all later.